This is very important because this was a very symbolic ceremony for the Zapotec people. This is part of the culture or one of the different characteristics which the different cultures in this certain area known as Mesoamerica they share. So this is a common ceremony in different cultures. The Aztecs, the Mayans, also Zapotecs here. So there are some differences between the different ball courts and the ball games in different states or in different archaeological sites. So in places like Chichen Itza, we find a big ring incrusted in the middle of the wall. There are vertical walls. Right here we have a different shape, a different structure. So all those steps were smooth with the stucco, as you can see on the left side. So in the base of that side, it is the original stucco. Everything was smooth with this stucco, and we find this this building with the shape of a big Latin eye. So it was not known in Oaxaca the way to make this ceremony until 1950s, when Ignacio Bernal he did excavate Dainzú, which is another archaeological site. He found many stones, many carved stones, where the ball players are represented in the different stages of the ball game. So they are wearing their equipment. So they use a glove very similar to the catchers for baseball. So they use a helmet protected in the same way, and a protection for this part of the arm, for their hips, and these were the different parts of the body which they used to hit the ball. So in the case of this ball game, we have a stone in the middle that was in order to start the game. So there were probably 3 or 4 players per team. The archaeologists, they say that the ball players were training all their lives to come once here to the top. So as I said, well, the distribution or the architecture here in the ball game, it is by this big Latin eye. We have the stairs in the front of the building, and that was the beginning, or that was the place to start the game. So they hit the ball, and it was of course the way to represent the sun cycle. So they were hitting the ball to the east, or from the east to the west. So they consider that the sun is walking in the sky every day, and after it passes to the west, every night it's fighting against the god of the underworld, which is trying to avoid that the sun comes up the next day. So right here it was the way to represent this battle, and the anthropologists, they consider, because of the religion of the Zapotecs, that it was the way to find a warrior or a military to campaign the sun every day. So that's because they consider that the end of the ball game, it was a human sacrifice. In the case of the religion for Zapotecs, the winner had the honor to be sacrificed, and they took their heads off. So what would you prefer if you were ball players nowadays? To be the winner, to be the loser? Don't answer. Yeah. So in that time, of course, the concept of the life, it was different. So we are afraid of the death, most of us. So even that this is a bad world, and that sometimes what we are not really happy, we don't want to die. So in that time they were looking for a big honor. If they die with honor, they would be with their gods. So the militaries who die while the battles, the women who die giving them birth, the ball players when they won the game. So it was very important for them the way of their death in order to get a better life next. So with their gods. So right here it is very important to understand that even that they had to train, it was not a sport. So it was a religious ceremony. Yeah. So no spectators here, only the religious people, the priests. They were at the top of the walls, and probably it was a referee in the middle of the ball players in order to count the score. So unfortunately, this appeared around 900 AD. So it was also practiced in another place. The name is Yagul, is another archaeological site, but it was until 900 AD. So after that, there is no any recent building like this. So this disappeared, and the rules are not very clear nowadays. So there are some models in scale which were found in other ball courts in Monte Alban. There are 5 in total, and that's because always the number is 7 or 9, so never it is 8 or 6. So that's because we understand that there are 3 or 4 players per team and a referee which was counting or taking the score. So everything, as I said, it was smooth with stucco. We are oriented like the city, north, south. That's because the ball was moving east, west. The ball was representing the sun. So it was made out of rubber, and they mix with a liquid from a plant. The name it is ipomoea, so that coagulates the rubber, and that's how they give the bouncing to the ball. The weight, it was almost 1 kilo. That's because they had to use all these protections for their bodies. So it was very, very symbolic. We find also the reconstruction here, and we find the big stones, not regular shape, little stones between, and in the corner at the base on that side we find the other stones, more square, better ensembled. That is the drainage system. So it was to take the water out to a dam. So Zapotecs, they never get the water lost. They always did recycle. There is another one in the other side. By the drainage of the city, they took this to a cistern in the middle of the square. So this was 100% religious.